from 30. And he's made from 24. And now he'll look to convert from 52 from the right hash. The Ashby snap to Behringer. The swing to the right leg by Borregales. The kick sail into the uprights. It's good! And the Patriots have the lead with 15 seconds to go. The rookie delivers.
Bob Socci is back calling game winners. That felt good, boy, didn't it?
That is the voice of Bob Socci, Vox for the New England Patriots, and one of the smoothest play-by-play voices in the NFL. Two-a-days come to a close for today, 9 to noon, and the Patriots are at Gillette for the 13th game of the year. That's where the Vikings will be, that is. And this is a Thursday night game later in the season, so our guys travel on a short week to hook one of the very best in the game. And Bob joins us now. For the Patriots, 2 joint practices for you guys. The Colts last week and the Eagles this week. What do you enjoy about the joints? And good morning, my man.
Hey, good morning, Paul. It's good to be with you once again. I'll tell you what I do enjoy about the joints and what I don't enjoy about the joints. And the thing about the joint practices that has always stood out to me is the level of competitiveness and the intensity of the reps. And I think as a broadcaster, it's a great opportunity to really get a gauge on, okay, the guys we're watching in these preseason games, they're not necessarily the guys we're going to be watching in week 1 when the season opens. And for me, like the way the Patriots have utilized them, it's a true indicator of what guys are on the roster, who's who, and where's where in the pecking order, because they prioritize those reps for the people who are in their plans for the coming season. And the flip side of that, of course, Paul, is that when fans come out and watch these games, including the first preseason game between the Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts, and the next one coming up as we speak against the Philadelphia Eagles, many of those players that they're going to see are there for film to hopefully find another job or maybe even land on a practice squad somewhere. But the intensity of joint practices really stands out, and also just the quality of the nature of the reps. They can control the situations. The coaches get together and do that. More focal points on situational football than may arise during a preseason game. Those things they have no control over when they're going to have a 2-minute offense opportunity in a preseason game. So it's a great time to go watch intense competitive football as a fan and as a broadcaster, but of course the flip side of that is you don't get to see that in prime time.
and speaking of a word you used there, Bob, filming, do the Patriots, do Vrabel, Kraft, and the Patriots or whomever, do they get all wound up with fans filming training camp practices and or plays and putting them on social media? Because that's a bubbling and burgeoning talker around the NFL, but it's kind of loud here, to be honest with you. What about there?
Well, Paul, I don't know how you can really police it. I mean, I think that there has been certainly a greater effort in the last couple of years, more announcements to fans. But from what I have seen, the video still makes its way out. And the content now, what I've seen actually with Mike Vrabel and his staff, though, is that there's been greater access for the team's in-house media to put some of those highlights from practices up on social media platforms as opposed to the past under Bill Belichick, which is probably not a surprise to you, certainly, or many of your listeners. But I think that, it's as a league, there's this constant effort to police the content that goes out and what fans post. And from a training camp perspective, the Patriots draw good crowds on nice days. You have 5, 6, 7,000 people that are out there packed in the bleachers. If somebody's holding up a smartphone, I don't know how the stadium security staff is expected to see that person before that person goes home or leaves the facility on the way home and posts, a 30-second clip of A.J. Brown making a sensational catch on his or her social media platform. But it is certainly something that I've noticed the last couple of years more frequently, the announcements being made and the reminders even to the people in the media about video content from the same media company, the same outlet. For example, now there are stricter regulations in terms of how much time you can actually use as a group as opposed to each individual posting whatever they wanted in terms of audio, sound bites, and video from the portions of practice that are accessible to us.
That was a cool answer. Bob Socci, play-by-play voice for the New England Patriots. 2 days comes to a conclusion today. We're discussing the Vikings' 13th game of the year. It's in December. It's a Thursday night game at one of my favorite stadiums, Gillette in Foxborough. The Patriots' lemming-like low-hanging fruit topic is no fourth place schedule this year. And yes, it was pivotal last year, no doubt. But how much of a difference will it make this year, Bob?
Well, I think it could make a significant difference. I think the Patriots are a much better team on paper, certainly this time in 2026 than a year ago. We certainly know a lot more about this team, and they've done things, I think, that really make a lot of sense in terms of trying to shore up where they were insufficient last year, and primarily on the offensive front and the offensive line, and then in some areas as well, like the wide receiver group, to bring in A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs. And then on the defensive side, to bring a Kevin Byard in who can maybe make more plays in the secondary for them. They didn't take the ball away a lot last year. But all that being said, I've told people many times when they ask me, what do you think about the season this year, Bob? And I say, I think they could have a much better team. But if it makes sense, they may not have as good a season. In fact, they may not even approach the kind of success they had last year in terms of a deep playoff run, just because of the caliber of the schedule. And it starts right away in Seattle. And it's interesting, Paul, because they're already looking ahead of that game. They retreated into the indoor facility. At least some of the team members and coaches, the guys who, again, we figured to see in week one, a couple of days ago during a walkthrough, apart from everybody else still on the practice field, just to practice in intense sound. They went into the indoor facility. They cranked up the music even louder than usual in there, and we presume that they did some walkthrough activity to maybe give them a little bit of a feel for what it's going to sound like when they go to Lumen Field in week one. So they're already thinking about that, but there's no difference. I mean, I see it with the quarterbacks especially. When you look at the guys they played against last year, and that's where really the success starts in the NFL, they're not going to play Dylan Gabriel, for example, from Cleveland, a rookie who's really overmatched when they saw him and some of the other people. Even on their playoff run, they caught some breaks. They got C.J. Stroud, who really was a shell of himself in the playoffs. They faced Jarrett Stidham instead of Bo Nix in the AFC Championship game, and that's not taking anything away from what they achieved. But there is a big difference this year, and I think it starts right there at that quarterback position.
Do the Dolphins and Jets absolutely have to be 4 wins for the Pats?
Yeah, well, I think so. I mean, that's where you've got to clean up on those teams, and I think the Bills last year, certainly, even really the last few years, you could see where the Bills were not the same, particularly for me defensively. So I think like that's a game like you face the Bills twice, early in Buffalo, later in New England. Last year they got away with 1 of 2. They won up at Buffalo, lost at home. That's what I think it comes down to. You split with Buffalo, in the very least, and then you sweep those other teams in your division, because the Jets certainly a long way from being relevant. The Dolphins clearly in a reset mode, and I think the thing about the Bills too is that they're in a situation where they've got a first-year coach, first-time head coach. I think the defense, again, over the last few years has not been the same as it was at their peak when they were 13 seconds from reaching the Super Bowl. I think Sean McDermott, despite his failings in some cases as a time manager and maybe in some instances the way he handled his emotions in situations, I think he's an underappreciated coach. I think he did a fantastic job with the Bills and their culture. And so it's going to be interesting to me to see how they respond under Joe Brady in the division.
How's Drake May looking? The last time we saw him, he played in the Super Bowl with a messed up throwing arm.
Well, he looks consistent. He looks very confident. He looks a bit bigger. He's put on some good weight. Certainly for him, I think the best thing to me is that he has a lot of people around him now that look a lot better. And it's a funny thing, because a couple of years ago the Patriots had the 30th, 31st, 32nd, take your pick, and it was like this for a while, receiver room in the NFL. There was a dearth of capable receivers in New England. Now they got a problem. This preseason because they have really 7 guys for 6 spots, and really 5 when you think about the people who will play. And Kayshon Boutte has been one of their best receivers, if not their best receiver. And if you factor in like distance, catching the long ball, whereas Steph Diggs last year was the most reliable short and intermediate receiver. But Boutte's been the big play guy for them the last couple of years out of LSU, and he's in a situation where he, I think, would like to be traded. Didn't get a contract extension. They went out and signed Brown. They went out and signed Dobbs. They've got some younger guys as well, and a Mac Hollins who's a veteran and kind of does all the yeoman's work for them. So it's a deep room, and a guy like Boutte right now is playing consistently well, but he's kind of on the outside looking in. But that's what Drake May has to work with at the wide receiver position. A lot of depth, a lot of ability. Tight end Hunter Henry is back. He's just re-signed. He looks good. They drafted Eli Raridan from Notre Dame in the 3rd round. I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be this year, but I think down the road he could be a very good player for them, something they've lacked for a long time. That joker tight end who is really more of a big receiver than a prototypical tight end. And then the backfield, Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, 2 very good multi-dimensional talents. And so for me, I think the best thing about Drake May is he's got those pieces around him. And I mentioned the offensive line. They've been able to fortify that a bit if they stay healthy. And they've already lost 2 interior players through 1 preseason game.
2-a-days, Bob Socci, Vox for the New England Patriots, and Pat's Chat, 9 to noon. You mentioned A.J. Brown and Romeo Dobbs. Dobbs, the former Packer. How are those newbies fitting in?
They're fitting in well. It was a little bit slower for Dobbs, but he's had a good week or 2 as we talk now. Certainly, I would say over the last week and a half, he's really had a surge in terms of the volume of catches in practice. And he's always made, from what I've seen as a Packer against the Patriots in joint practices and in preseason, regular season games, he's always made contested catches. He's been doing that for New England, but I think he's now fitting better into the flow of the offense. And Brown has been very good for them. He caught a 70-yard touchdown pass yesterday as we speak, and that was the highlight of the day, maybe the highlight pass of training camp for them. We've seen him on a lot of short slants and underneath stuff, but to see him have that burst and be able to catch the long ball for May, that's very encouraging for this team because they got the short stuff out of Diggs last year. They didn't get a lot of the down the field stuff, from a guy that was not the same receiver as he was obviously when you called his game. So I think for the Patriots, those 2 guys right now are trending well and are on track to be what they hope they will be come the regular season. And why they got them is guys that can affect opposing coverages and also give them the opportunity to layer the field with throws that are short, intermediate, and then downfield, and for Drake May to have that ability to throw a ball up in the corner of the end zone and have a guy rise and get it.
Is the Vrabel talker, let's say the Vrabel talker from months gone by, is it a distraction in any way?
At this point, no. That situation has really died down locally,
right.
And I'm not sure really it's still percolating on a national level from what I've seen.
Right.
But it was very quickly put behind Vrabel and the Patriots after the draft. I mean, there certainly was a lot of content and a lot of discussion around it. We were talking about the situation with Mike Vrabel, of course, and the former athletic reporter Diana Rossini. But
right.
From what I've seen, it's been kind of a non-issue, really. I wouldn't even say kind of. It's become a non-issue of late for them. And the one thing about Vrabel with players is that he's gotten the buy-in right away, and it's continued, and it's been interesting. They've brought in some guys, too, that are familiar with him. Kevin Byard, I mentioned him as one of the key off-season acquisitions. People that played for him in Tennessee, and, for him, the locker room is there behind him. The organization has been. And what we've seen thus far in terms of the way he's coached this group, it's been no different than last year. It's been just as demanding, just as involved out on the field, but at the same time, you've heard a lot of the same things from players talking about how close-knit they are and how healthy their culture is as a team. Of course, last year they didn't have any losing streaks, Paul. They lost only 3 games during the year until they got to the Super Bowl. Yeah. With that schedule that you mentioned, we'll see how it plays out, with a tougher schedule and should they encounter some rough spots.
Just a couple to close here, Bob. Thanks for the time. Year 2 for the gifted running back, Travion Henderson. What's supposed to be better? I mean, he's gifted, and he might have a super bright future, as we discussed on the Vikings Radio Network Perch and Egan last year. What's supposed to be better with Travion this time around?
Well, passing game, more involved in the passing game, and one of the things that held him back last year was pass protection. He just wasn't a good pass protector. Even though he had that reputation coming out of Ohio State, it's just a different level, as you know, coming to the NFL. So I think that, to have the opportunity to just be on the field more on third down, and to give Ramondre Stevenson a little bit of a blow here and there. He's been a guy who's really worked overtime throughout his career for the Patriots. Henderson, I think, is the guy that can certainly make down the field plays too. If you get him on the linebacker and throw the ball to him in that situation. But I think what they're looking for more out of him this year is just more consistency. He broke some long runs last year, the 50-yard plus runs. But I think what they want to see from him as a back this year is just more consistency, both as a runner, but as a pass catcher. And I think the latter begins with just his ability to hang in there and be able to, stick his nose in there and read where the blitz is coming from and where he has to pick up a guy and be able to handle that so that, they don't have to take him off the field in those situations when they're looking to throw the ball. But he's a dynamic talent. He's got a lot of ability, certainly, as you know. And we saw it right away as a rookie. First kickoff of preseason 2025, and he ran it back 100 yards for a touchdown.
Of the Pats' 9 draft picks, which one or two look like they belong right now?
Well, that's a great question. I think, the thing about Gabe Ack is he looks it physically, but as a second rounder who had an unforeseen surgery between the draft and the start of his time with the Patriots, he signed late. As you may know, he missed all of OTAs and then came into training camp about a week after everybody else. He looks the part. He's a young man out of Illinois as an edge rusher. He's physical. He's athletic. He's got a great motor, but he doesn't necessarily know how to control those wheels. His wheels are spinning a lot. It's a lot of bull rushing, a lot of straight ahead. In the first preseason game, got himself out of position a few times, got sucked in on a screen here or there. But the physical talent is there. I just don't know that those other things are going to hold him back where he doesn't get on the field enough to have an impact. Yeah, Caleb Loma, the first-round pick, is going to be a depth tackle at this point, maybe a jumbo tight end, and work his way into the rotation. But he's not even right now the number 2 left tackle, the way things are shaping up. They've got a draft pick from a year ago who's been ahead of him there, Marcus Bryant, who's a late-rounder out of Missouri. So, when I look at Lomu, I don't necessarily see him being an impact player this year. Maybe down the road, I think he should be. He has all the skills necessary to play tackle in the NFL for sure. Looks much more like a tackle than Will Campbell, just not at his level right now in terms of intensity and ability. The third round pick, though, is the one that I think is most intriguing, and that's Eli Raritan, the move tight end out of Notre Dame. He, though, because of the situation at receiver with Hunter Henry, may not get on the field enough. The guy that maybe has the best impact, as I rattle off like all 9 draft picks, is a defensive back out of Wake Forest, Karan Prunty, because they have 3 terrific corners if they're out there. And Christian Gonzalez, who hasn't been practicing for a few days. As you may know, there's a bit of an impasse with his contract situation. There is Marcus Jones, who's really a talented player, as a outstanding punt returner, but really has become a very good slot cornerback. And then there's Carlton Davis, who last year repeatedly dodged bullets and was able to stay on the field healthy enough to play every game. So that fourth cornerback, I think, especially with Davis's history situation, last season notwithstanding, is important for them. And Karan Prunty right now, the rookie out of Wake Forest, a later round draft pick, seems to be a guy that is going to factor in their plans.
All right, last one here. Appreciate the time. The Patriots and Bills are about 50-50 to win the AFC East. Bills are a slight favorite. What are those games with the Bills like, and how big of a rivalry has this become?
Well, it's certainly, it's going to be interesting this year, Paul, because I can tell you what they were like in Buffalo and what they are going to be like in Buffalo may not be the same. Going into Buffalo, as you know, is unlike any place in football in the NFL. You ride through this residential neighborhood, and everybody's out there in their Zubas and they're drinking their Labatts and their other Canadian or local brews in Western New York. And the Patriots are often greeted with the single finger salute from those fans in Buffalo when they're not breaking tables in the parking lots or on the lawns of the houses around the stadium, the old Highmark Stadium. And then you go into the stadium, and it was like a cauldron. It was like a college atmosphere. The old Horseshoe Stadium, no frills, no luxury suites, just great football fans, and very intense. And for so long, the Patriots beat up on them. I remember correctly, I think Tom Brady was like 29-3 against the Bills. So it was such a lopsided series that it really wasn't a rivalry, but there was just this incredible passion and excitement on the part of Bills fans directed at the Patriots when New England would go in there for games for a long time, and then the worm turned, and for 5 years the Bills dominated the division, and the Patriots went in the early part of that Bills run from being a team that was a rival to being, a foregone conclusion, another win and should be two for the Bills in the regular season. And that all changed last year when Andy Borregales of the Patriots, the rookie place kicker, won from 52 yards in the final seconds of a Sunday night game. This season, again, like I said, I think it's going to be interesting because the Bills are in that new stadium, and there have been certainly a lot of reports out of Buffalo about that stadium, and I'm not sure how that atmosphere is going to be compared to the way it used to be going in there. You're still going through the same neighborhood. You're still basically arriving, on the same grounds. The stadium now is next door to where the stadium was. Right. But I can't see it being the same. I can't see it being the same as the old Highmark Stadium, which I loved, by the way. Right. Going there to call again. Great sight lines. Great atmosphere, always a lot of fun.
Bob, thank you very much for the time. That was comprehensive and very, very enjoyable. Have a wonderful season with the Patriots, and we'll see you out there on a Thursday in December, okay?
We'll see you then, Paul. Stay well, and all the best to you in your season as well.
9 to noon continues after this.
You're listening live to Paul Allen and 9 to...
PA Nordo, what's up, guys? Jeremy from Coon Rapids. I think it's perfectly good to be pumped up. We have the best receiver core in football, some really talented running backs. I think our defense might be top 3 this year, and I think Kyler Murray is going to shock the whole NFL this year and
dare to dream.
Take us all the way. Championship game at least.
Well, that can be a series of talkers du jour for future days. Like, it's low-hanging fruit here. It's got some national. It's got, like, if you listen to KFAN middle of the afternoon on Saturday, you probably would hear something along the lines of best receiving core in the NFL. Is it Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison? Or is it Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? Rome Odunze and Luther Burden when he's healthy. But there's plenty of reason to be excited. Tempered enthusiasm for some is required because there's been a lot of heartbreak in the equation. But 9 to noon is very, very excited, not only for the joint practices tomorrow, where we will be doing 2 consecutive days of radio on the exclusive Vikings Radio Network perch. Tight ends coach joins us tomorrow, but for that Green Bay game in about a month.
Did you see, speaking of wide receiver core, did you see Keenan Allen ain't giving up?
Right.
He had to dip from the Chargers for was it just one season he was with the Bears, went back to the Chargers, and now he's with those Colts. Mm-hmm. Let's check out the talkback.
And the Giants were so happy with Tyrone Tracy's blitz pickup or lack thereof against Jay Ward. Well, they signed Najee Harris.
Good morning, gentlemen. JD Florence, Texas. To all those keyboard warriors out there that want coach wannabes.
Oh, what?
Kyler Murray is the starter. Oh. Carson Wentz is our backup.
Hang on, I got to write this down.
If JJ gets bumped to 3, he's going to ask for a trade. That moves Max up to 3. It's just reality. It's just the way it is. This organization is going to want to win. Have a good day. Skol.
Yep, Skull, and to go Florence, Texas. That verbally had a little keyboard warrior to it.
It did a little bit.
I mean, you were preaching. We don't mind when people get in here and preach, but
maybe he was fighting kind of the Hatfield McCoys of the quarterback conversation as it was. So he wasn't even maybe talking to us.
No, I got you. You're right.
He was talking to those maybe on a certain side of that fence,
which would make him a fan of mine / us, because he chose to execute his toil via broadcasting, where the McCoys at whom he may have been going, well, that's the narrowcasting leader. It's just loud.
I saw this text, Leon Musk guy. Inhaling the purple Kool-Aid is not advisable.
Excuse me?
The purple
Excuse
Kool-Aid.
me, Pete? Play clock. Clock.
There's 5 letters in the word clock. Championship game, at least from that previous talkback, it did make me laugh where we're going to go all the way. Well, I mean, a championship game, at the least.
My opinion is on record, and my take is on record, and I don't really see any reason to change it. It's Vikings and Falcons in the NFC title game, and you're on your own after that.
Here we go, Paul! Hey, did you mention Holly, Minnesota?
Yeah, Ben Ellefson.
That's where, okay, this is coming from, I think, Ben Ellefson's hometown.
PA, Nordo, Jamie from Holly. Just want to talk about the run game. CD looks amazing, man. Up in the second level. I know it's just one series, but the whole O-line, Josh Oliver, Max Bredesen, Jones looks spry. Mason looks trim. Claiborne is a wild card at this point, but man, I'm excited. Let's go. Skull, let's go.
Yeah, I think.
Skull!
Yeah.
Skull!
What? Bowed out? No, it's bump. No. Gup, 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 bump, 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 bump. Ba-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da. Hey! We're not here to marshmallow.
Yeah.
We're also not here to gauge levels of excitement via power rankings. But the running game and the newfangled running game and the new assistant head coach and Holly, Minnesota's Ben Ellefson helping with the running game, and what we've seen in training camp, and then what we saw in a very snapshot sample size for MetLife Stadium, the whole thing has been on Hit Legit.
Yeah.
It's important to pull coverage from 18. 18 said so on the simulcast. Addison's going to be singled pretty much every play.
Yep.
Hawkinson, Oliver, they're going to be singled pretty much every play. O'Connell got sneaky on one play where they got a little goofy with some of their coverage. So Kyler flared it to Bredesen. I think we got a free 6 there, maybe 4, 5, or 6. There's just so much coming at us right now. And it further intensifies when the Ravens get here tomorrow for joint practices.
Talk back.
Hey guys, hope your day is going well. You know what annoys me more than anything about JJM? Is that people just keep crapping on the guy who's only 23 years old, which is fair to an extent if you keep it to football related. But when you have nut jobs at practice screaming at him, grown-ass men who are older and should be, a little more mature, it just boggles my mind, and especially the radio shows, not you guys, who are playing it like it's a joke. It's like, let's all grow up and let the man grow.
Well, my man right there, you went down a road, respectfully and honestly, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, at practices, and I heard it. It was unbelievable the 2 times I've been there.
Hello?
Where there's some rube out in the bleachers.
In the bleachers, not like in the certainly not the family tent or one of those tents.
But just screaming. And you've been out there, I mean, there's the din of music, but it's still just this wide open, it's mostly quiet.
Was said person vulgar?
Get your...
So you heard it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn. And he's just ripping, you're awful, you're trash.
Wow.
Get Kyler back in there when he was doing reps.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
It was terrible.
The
And so I think, because I saw it a bit on the net too. It's
okay.
Like there's this focus on the video and the audio. Let's get somebody out there to make sure that guy has to go take a break somewhere.
Well, when it leaves the playing field, it's in play sometimes.
Yeah.
For instance, the 9 fiasco at Ford Field. I mean, shoot, like 2 weeks later, I brought it up with Kevin O'Connell during X's and O's, and he kind of corroborated what I and some others were saying about that's not him. It shocked me that he did that. I didn't like it. I don't think the coach liked it. Okay, that could be in play. But a lot of this is predicated with social media, specifically Twitter. When people formulate loud opinions, they don't backpedal from them. So if you formulate a loud opinion and you're wrong, then your head goes into the sand and you just let everything dissipate. But if you formulate a loud opinion and you happen to be right, they just get louder and they get more personal. It's the age of rage, and it's befitting of said age.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Let's pause. I'm going to find a winner, and then we'll chat post-game style and put a wrap on 9 to noon.
That's next. FM 100.3, KFAN.
This is PA on iHeartRadio and KFAN.
And they do. At Al Roofing, that's exactly what they offer, including a full suite of roofing services that meet each and every one of your needs. You can get a .com. What'd you miss today? What's pertinent? And where would we send you if we missed and we were podcasting? Here comes the con.
Yeah, I would start with Ben Gessling, heavy Vikings conversation, and the perfect prepper. The prepper, by the way, if you are entertained at all, maybe by some cool joint practices that are taking place the next 2 days. Anish Shroff did 2 things for me this morning, PA. First of all, your conversation with him was awesome. It's cool to get to know him. That's a division-winning team, by the way, the Carolina Panthers. And
he's Syracuse raised. Why wouldn't it be good?
The pro's pro. There's no doubt about it. But he did this interesting trapeze act where he simultaneously made it sound like the sky was falling in Charlotte, and I think that captivated all of us as Minnesota sports fans. But then he picked them to win the division again because it is one of the more underwhelming divisions in the NFL. So that was during the 10 a.m. hour, and then Bob Socci. I mean, and just playing any highlights of his that include Scott Zolak basically makes my morning. But if you want to know how Drake May and the Patriots are going to look a year after heading to the Super Bowl, the expectations around that, Socci even kind of chatted about the distraction factors and just what's going around Mike Vrabel and company as they try to traverse the 2026. Loved that, and frankly, just loved talkbacks today as part of a Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply Talker Tuesday. I have a winner here. Somebody's about to win $25 to Northern Fire Grilling and Barbecue Supply.
Don't tell me it's the talkbacker who said this.
PA? Well, it probably goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't like you.
Okay.
It's not him.
Okay.
Yo, good morning, everybody. It is Greg here. Right off the bat, sorry to Jamal Adams. Gonna miss you. Rest up, recover up. We'll see you next year. I'm so excited about this year, guys. We got Flo. He is the D&D wizard. We have Damon Claiborne, the shifty rogue. We have a defense that is gonna ball out, top in the NFL, and I'm so excited to see Kyler Murray and what he's gonna bring to the
that's beautiful. It's excitable. It's casting the gaze the way of the regular season. And, from a podcasting standpoint, with the opening segment, yours truly got into the show a little bit, then dropped a 3-ish minute clip from somebody very popular and very loud as TV sports goes. And this individual was not only on the Vikings jock because he picked 12 wins, 12-5, but some things he said about Kyler Murray, and it's things that we've thought of or said, but maybe not, we didn't amplify them the way this individual did. To find out who the individual was, because he's incredibly popular and he can be incredibly loud. And it was a really cool snippet the way he laid things out regarding Kyler Murray and the Minnesota Vikings. That would be KFAN.com. 9 to noon on demand. And it's the first segment. Took place within the first 5 minutes of the radio show, KFAN.com. Love Covenant on demand. Listen tomorrow. 9 to noon will be at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center for the Vikings-Ravens first joint practice. Chris Finch, coach of the Wolves, joins at 9. Tight ends coach Ryan Cordell about 10:45. Yours truly, Paul Allen, will be on the perch. Nordo by my side. Thank you for listening to 9 to noon and/or KFAN. May God bless you and all of your families, and have a wonderful day. The program is next.
9 to noon.
If it's good news or money, leave a message.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored